Actually, I just built a stable. Is this village building game the village building game of your dreams?
I'm not telling you about my dreams.
Check out the video for more. Not of Kirsty's dreams.
See you soon. Welcome to Ludus Vulpes. My name's Kirsty.
I'm Phil.
And you join us as we run through our thoughts of Hamlet, a village building game by Mighty Boards.
Yeah, it's a game where you build a village using these really odd shaped tiles, which actually is quite a nice concept, quite a nice idea. And
it's different.
It is different, and it's a very English village. It's allegedly, according to the rulebook. Yeah, it's in the rulebook. And during the game, you're going to be expanding a shared player area, which is the village, and scoring points for the buildings you build, the resources you use, and the construction of the church, which will change your little hamlet into a town.
Village.
Hamlet, village. Hamlet and a village is the same thing.
Okay. Town.
Hamlet's a small
Village.
grouping of buildings, and a village is a small grouping of buildings. The church makes it a town.
Town.
Yeah, so there you go.
Let's get this village on the map.
Yeah, let's build a map of a village. So this is Hamlet. Let's go down to the table. We'll go through a little example of how the game plays, and then we'll do a demo round for you. Join us down there.
See you there.
You join us down at the table midway through a game, as always, midway through a game. And we'll go through a little bit about how the game plays. We'll do your demo round and we'll take it from there. So what you see in front of you is a map that we have been building collaboratively or semi-collaboratively. You've got a little scoreboard at the top. You've got some tiles that can be purchased. In front of us, we've got our play area. We've got some tokens that we're going to put out on the board. We've got some tiles that we may or may not have purchased that we sort of buy from here, build from here. That's how that's going to work. Over here, we've got some tiles that haven't appeared in the market yet. We've got a little bag with chits that will tell us which of these tiles ends in the market next. And we've got these little flags down here. The green ones are in-game benefits, and the red ones will be end-game scoring, which will talk. You'd go through at the end of the game to establish who's taking points from these. There's a bit of money. There's some resources on really tiny resources that are going to appear on the board. A couple of core concepts of this game. All the resources on the board can be used by anyone. So if you build a resource, I can use it. If Kirsty builds a resource, I can use it. If I build a resource, Kirsty can use it. And there are two levels of resource. There are these basic goods, and then there are some advanced goods. Advanced goods will come in our colour. When advanced goods are used, the person who created the advanced good, the produced goods, is going to get a benefit as well. But the produced goods can't be built until certain tiles are out on the board. We've got a sawmill, a flour mill, a stonemason, and a dairy farm, which allows us to upgrade things to milk, flour, brick, and planks, so we can build more advanced buildings.
If you don't have the advanced building power, so for example, this dairy is mine, which allows me to have the advanced milk. If Phil creates the milk, it is just a basic milk, which is black. So these tokens are double-sided. Yeah,
what that means is, so the first person to build a producing, like a tile that produces advanced goods, will be able to produce the white side of those. And you got here on the print on the card, you got a little reward, which is a victory point and a coin. If someone uses an advanced good that you've created, you double that reward. So that's how the white side works. Coins are tougher to come by, and actually the economy in the game is relatively tight. So what can you do on your turn? Well, a turn is very simple, very straightforward. You have some workers. And their workers are split into two different types of workers. There are builders or like farmhands, these guys, and there are donkeys, which are just cute. Look at how cute that donkey is. And donkeys will they'll transport goods, and these guys and girls will use goods to produce things, to build things. So on your turn, you can move all your donkeys, and each donkey can move one tile a turn. Mm-hmm. So once you've moved a donkey a tile, you'd lay it down. It's fine. And it doesn't mean the donkey's used. The donkey can still transport goods at that point. Why are you transporting goods? Well, your other workers can take actions. And the actions are depicted on the board. Typically, they'll have a red spend. So here I can spend a wheat to create milk. So I'm feeding my cows, and they're giving me milk. Very generous of them. And so I need to be able to get wheat from here to here. Now I can't because I'm the red player, but Kirsty has a donkey here. So from the root, we've got wheat in one tile, a donkey in one tile, a donkey in this tile, and no donkey in this tile as yet. But if Kirsty were to move one of these donkeys over here and put a worker here, you've got a continuous blue line all the way to the wheat. So this worker can now lay down because he's tired after working and change a wheat into a milk. And I'm just going to put your donkey back there for you.
Thank you.
So that's how the game is going to work. You're going to move goods from one location to another to take certain actions. Tiles in front of you have an action with a little hammer. That's a build action, allowing you to build that tile to the board. And you normally get a little reward. So in this instance, the build will cost me a coin and a wheat, and I'll get 2 victory points as a reward. So as you're building tiles, it's great. Other actions you can do. You can also build this church, turning your village into a town once it's complete. And I've currently built one section of it. There are 4 sections in a 2-player game, and you put out these little tiles to show how it's been built as you go. So that just costs goods to do that. Here at the town hall, you can do a number of things. You can buy the tiles from the top. It works in a mechanism you'll probably be familiar with. If I want this tile, I'm going to need to put a coin on this one and on this one, and then I can take that tile. This tile slides down and they get refilled with a chip from the bag, and we'll pick the right tile to go at the end. If I was to take this tile, this outpost tile, I would get the 2 coins that are associated with that at the moment. The other thing you can do here is buy more workers, and there's a progressive cost to workers, and you can buy more donkeys. Workers will always appear laying down at the church. Donkeys can appear anywhere in a route that's connected to the church. And what we've got is some paths that they need to connect. But where there is no path, for example here where it's wood against wood, Kirsty's built herself a little road to go over that. And so this is now a connected part of the map. But this dairy farm that you built is not yet connected, but possibly will be. The other sort of non-standard action is here at the market, where you've got 2 different actions. You can complete one of these trade contracts by spending the appropriate goods and gaining the reward, or as long as you can trace a line of donkeys from this market to wherever your worker is, instead of like just using goods that are on the board, you can buy goods to use, and you can use those to build or to construct advanced goods, whatever you want to do with them.
Money's no object.
Yeah.
That's a route you can take.
It's a route you can take, and sometimes you may have to take that route within the game. Over the course of the game, loads of things are going to give you victory points, but at the end of the game, these tiles will also give you victory points. You'll also score victory points for the longest continuous path back to the church, but your path can only cross your bridges. You'll also score points for these tiles here, which are like landscaper, which is the most buildings, the most market trades. So yeah, you're going to score points at the end of the game, and those points will help you accumulate. You've also got...
There are end game points, which are shown by these little flags. So if I just lie these down here, you'll see that at the end of the game, Phil will score, because he's red player, will score 3 points if this hexagon is connected by a path, which it is. So at the end of the game, Phil's going to gain 3 points for that one. And there are multiple end game.
Yeah, they're called monument tiles
compared
to as opposed to producing tiles.
Yeah, so they give you points at the end as opposed to as you go along.
Yeah. So
stand that back up. Sorry.
Yeah, and at the end of the game, each of these coins, every 3 coins is going to be worth an extra victory point as well. So you'll be accumulating victory points for various things at the end of the game, and the person with the most points is the winner. I know, it's a surprise to both you and I. So to just quickly, it's Kirsty's turn as we go into a demo round.
Yes.
So just quickly go over the game state at the moment. I have got all these wonderful in-game benefits, so I can produce advanced goods, except for milk. I can't produce advanced milk. We've got a couple of tiles waiting to be built, some interesting tiles in effect over there, and there's lots of donkeys trailing all over the place. So if you want to enjoy this demo round, we'll play a couple of rounds. We'll take Kirsty's turn and my turn, and then we'll come back with our thoughts. So Kirsty, over to you.
Okay, so my first worker let's work out where my donkeys are.
I like the clicky noise like donkey's hooves.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what happens when I think.
Sorry.
So my first worker will lie down here. We'll use these 2 stones using the pathway of donkeys.
So just to be clear, this donkey is not involved in this pathway. These stones will automatically move to this tile.
Yeah, which that donkey will collect.
And then the donkey will collect it, pass it to this donkey, who will then pass it to this worker.
Yeah.
And that worker can then build.
And then this is a pathway that's now connecting these 2, a stone pathway. So that one has done. My next worker here will go to what do I need? The stone quarry and create lots of rocks and get paid 2 coins, please. Yeah.
So whenever you do work, and that's typically you get paid for the work, and you also, for the basic resources, stone, wood and wheat, you'll completely fill them as you go.
This worker will take the outpost tile, please.
Okay, some cash in hand.
Gives me some cash, hard cash money.
So we now move these tiles down. Kirsty will draw a chit from the bag. That will relate to one of the tiles here that we'll put out.
It is an outpost, which is a dairy building, and it looks like that shape. So a hexagon with a pointy bit.
There you go, 1 hexagon with a pointy bit.
Okay, so that can go in that resource holder there. And then whilst I'm at the town hall, this worker is also going to buy me a donkey.
Okay.
Little donkey. So this little donkey is going to go here. So that's that worker spent, and that one spent, and that one spent. And now I shall let me have one last look. I'm not sure I can do actually what I need to do. Okay, I will spend this wood.
Okay.
Using... No, I can't. No, I won't. So actually, this worker will come here and top up the wood for 2 coins, please. Thank you. Should have done that the other way around because I would have bought another donkey at that stage.
So that's Kirsty's go over. I'm going to stand my 3 workers. Kirsty's got 4 workers. Kirsty's paid for the extra workers, and she's earned a lot of cash as she's gone along the way.
Hard cash money.
Hard cash money. Money! And I am going to... So I'm going to move a donkey to here. I'm going to move this worker to here, and this worker is going to change one of these woods into a plank. Now,
that's what I was going to try and do, but I realised my donkeys wouldn't stretch that far.
The produced goods are your own coloured tiles so that you remember who created it. So it doesn't matter who spends it, I will get double this reward because I got the premium product. So that's a wood built, and I'm also going to come and move this donkey to here. Lay that donkey down. And this worker is going to come to the mill here and take a wheat from there. And
how does it get it?
Put out
from here.
Oh, yeah. No, he's not, because I can't get the route. And that's something that you're going to have to keep an eye on at the game, because it can catch you out sometimes.
Sorry.
No, that's absolutely fine. So I've spent this guy making wood. This guy's going to replace the wood here for me. So
get some cash.
And that gives me
cash
2
money.
coins. And then, in a shocking turn of events, this guy's going to build a section of the church. So
already?
He's going to bring this wood from here to here.
Yeah.
And I've got a donkey here, and then into this gap here. And then I'm going to have to spend 8 coins to get 2 more advanced goods. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's my 8 coins. So I've got 1 plank, which is this section here, and they will buy me 2 flour. So I'll fill that out. It needs 3 produced goods. And
you can buy these from the market.
And
you'll see there's a little sign here which says you do not need to place a worker there for that power, but you do have to spend 4 coins per good.
So I spent my 8 coins. That's going to go there. Now, that's going to give me 4 victory points. But I also spent a produced good, a high quality good of my own, which is going to give me another 2 victory points and 2 coins. So now I'm going to get 2 coins from the supply. And I'm going to get
6
6 victory points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is the end of my go. We'll play through Kirsty's one more go for Kirsty, and then we'll come back with our thoughts.
Okay, so I'll quickly stand up all my peeps so I know where they are. 1, 2. Did you stand that one?
I stood him up here.
3, 4. Shouldn't have worn such baggy sleeves. I don't want to knock anything over.
Top tip, gamers: when playing games with balancy components, don't wear baggy sleeves.
Yeah.
Or elastic bands around the sleeves can look very fetching.
I can pull them up like this, so we can do that. That's no problem. So at the town hall, my little lady will spend 3 coins for the last bucking bronco, and that will go here. So that one's spent. While I'm there, I might as well take the lumber mill. Actually.
There you go.
Yeah. Actually, no, I won't.
Okay, I'll put it back.
No, I will take it. I apologise. I'll take it. I apologise.
Do you want to get a token out of the bag?
Yeah. And we are replacing it with a pond from the bag range.
So the way you build this bag of tokens is you start off with just these tokens with a bag symbol on them. But as you build like advanced production buildings, you'll add tokens in that relate to the advanced production buildings. Eventually, you'll have all 4 piles of advanced production buildings sat in the bag as well.
So this man's going to go and take this wood via my donkeys and turn it into a plank of wood. Mm-hmm. Nice shaping skills there. Then, I haven't moved this donkey yet, so Can I move that? Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Then this little dude is going to lie down there and pass through the donkeys a bit of wheat to turn that into luxurious milko there. I should have 1 worker left here, which at the market will complete this one here, which is a plank and a milk being delivered to the market. So that gives me 1, 2, 3 coins and 3, 4, 5, 6 victory points.
Love it. Anything else to do on your turn?
I just pop these away so I don't forget. And I think that is all my workers used. There, and there. Okay.
So we're going to leave the demo around there. But let's move into our thoughts on Hamlet. Kirsty, would you like to go first?
Okay, so this was one that I actually picked up from Essen.
Yep.
2022 Essen Spiel, and it was one of my last minute additions purchases. There are a few that had fallen through that I knew I couldn't pick up there because they hadn't had the deliveries, so I had a tiny bit more suitcase space. And Hamlet made the list because I looked at the description of it and it sounded right up my street. Route building, tile laying,
pattern matching on the tiles.
Yeah. It's like my dream game. And then I came to play it. Oof. And I came to play it, and this is no word of a lie, I shed a tear. I was like, well, I just can. There was some simple basic rules now, looking back after multiple plays, that I could not get into my head. I don't know whether it's just playing so many new games at the moment. But
Maybe.
The donkey rule, whereby when you move a donkey, so I'll do an example on the board here. This donkey, I want to get a donkey here, that can't just do that. That donkey cannot just move from there to there because donkeys will only move 1 tile. So you have to move this one to there and then this one to there to allow you to have 1 to there.
Yeah.
That is something that I could not get into my head. I could not figure out
So I'd say that sounds petulant because I made you do that. But actually, during the game, you want to move donkeys in a sensible manner.
Oh, yeah.
And if you just move this donkey to here, which actually is exactly the same overall effect of doing this, but you're not getting used to that one tile movement of a donkey. And so,
to help me learn, that was what I needed to do. And I could not get my head around it. But the penny finally dropped and I got it. And yeah, I know to buy lots of donkeys now and just spread them out evenly. And generally, it's not a problem.
It covers,
I think this game is lovely lovely game. I thoroughly enjoy, as we said, the pattern matching, the tile laying, the completion of the contracts. The one bit I don't really care about, and this sounds really strange, is Phil can happily build the entire church because I have no urgency to build a church.
Okay. And I want to pause just for one moment, let that sink in. Have you let it sink in now? I hope so. I hope there's been a good pause. This game, in essence, is about building a church to move your little village, Hamlet, into a town. And Kirsty will ignore the building the church part. And I don't mean like a little bit. She will totally ignore it. There are 4 spaces here.
I don't think I've ever built a church, have I?
You have built 1 church space in 4 or 5 games now. And you've built 1 church.
Yeah. Not a whole church. One segment of the church.
Just to be clear, I've not won a game.
Just put it out there.
Thank you. Carry on.
I think you might win this time, though. You've got quite a good lead on me.
I always do have quite a good lead on you.
So there is no urgency for me to go and collect points via the church. The biggest you can collect on a 2-player game is 6 points for completing 1 section.
And a 3 or 4 player game as well, to be fair.
Yeah, or 4 as the minimum. So yeah, admittedly, there are like 20 points there. But I can happily build various different properties. Like the outpost will cost me 4 coins, which is 1 victory point because it's, it gives me 3 victory points. And then it will give me 1 victory point per tile from this
to the church.
So I generally will wait until the very last round to build that because I don't need to build it any time sooner because it's less victory points. Now, yes, that is the way that I play and I'm quite happy to not drag the game on, but I'm quite happy to just merrily sit and pattern match and just have a very zen-like game. That is not probably the essence of the game. What I do love about the game is the variety of shapes. Now, this must have taken quite a bit of working out to have figured out, right, what shapes can we definitely put together that won't just perfectly match, but actually if the right ones come out, you can actually fill all the gaps in. For example, if I get my outpost, which I'd never put there, that actually does fit in there.
You couldn't play it there because that road has no match.
But there are certain rules that you have to follow. But it's it's different from your standard Tetris piece.
Yeah. They're not squares or hexagons. No. They are odd shapes.
The artwork is lovely. The theme, it makes sense. The dairy creates milk. You're feeding the wheat to the animals to create the milk. Yeah. The wood you're taking to the sawmill to turn it into planks. The theme is there. It works. You're delivering contracts. It works. There's something missing about this game and I'm not sure what it is. It's not, it's the artwork's beautiful. Phil will give his ideas on how you could actually just tweak it just to get it right. I enjoy the game, but I don't know, there's something just not quite clicking into place with it. And it's a fantastic game and I'm enjoying every game that I play of it, but I don't have the urgency to end the game.
So what I would say, and I think it's important, I think it's important, you might not, your choice, but I think it's really important. This game is, like in a 2-player game, to build the end game trigger is to complete all 4 of these sections of the resources. In a 3 or 4 player game, it's 5 sections of the church you need to complete. And if both players aren't at least contributing to that, it's almost impossible for one player to do it without saving up a lot of money and buying resources. It's just very, very difficult to do. And that means that, for me, this game overstays its welcome on the table time and time and time again. There's no urgency to the game. There's no genuine sense of pace to the game. It just plods along. And in a two-player game, by the end of the game, because Kirsty is happily building and merrily building her village, and then I have to join in and merrily build my village because I can't play the church because I can't get to the goods unless I've got money to spare. You don't often have money to spare in the game, so I'm like I've got to build buildings as well. And we'll get to a point where there's like maybe two in that tile. All of these are gone, and there's maybe two left to pick up there. And that's every game. We played a couple of 3-player games, and all the tiles go in a 3-player game because the game gives you no driver to complete the church. You can get more points everywhere else on the board. So completing the church is almost an irrelevancy, and it means that a game that I feel would sit beautifully in a sort of hour slot for 2, 3, or 4 players, probably lasts an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes. And that's with us being experienced with the game now. We've played sort of 6 times maybe, and that's with experience of the game, not having to massively think about, we can see a title on the tile and we could probably tell you what effects that tile has. So we're not dawdling on what we want from the top. We're not dawdling to take our turns. The game just goes on too long, and it doesn't have the payoff for the length of time that you put into the game. And I think what frustrates me the most is there's a couple of things you could probably do to make that just go away. So these points here are 6 and 4. So for a big spend, you're going to get 6 victory points. For a little spend, you're going to get 4 victory points. Almost every one of these endgame scoring tiles will score you more than 6 points if you play it well. And there's no reason why you wouldn't play it well. I think that's probably fair. If you would make this for the at least double. So if that was 12 points and this was 8 points, that would get more interesting. If this was 15 points and this was 10 points, then I think you'd see players dashing to complete the church because the victory points on offer at the church would be significantly more. And that would mean that you don't get to see every tile in the deck every game. And for me, it's a massive flaw with the game that just spoils my enjoyment of a game that I want to love, because everything about it I should really enjoy.
It's lovable.
Yeah, and I should really enjoy it. It's well thought through, how you get things from A to B. There's a couple of fiddly rules. The donkey rule is just annoying.
It's not annoying. I think it's very clever. It's tricksy because it makes what could just be a resource trade, a tile laying game, actually a little bit thinkier, because you have to go, hang on a minute, can I
Where are my donkeys?
Where is my worker and can I get it there? And if I can't do it this turn, I either need to buy another donkey or move my donkey so that next turn I can. I like that it's a hard, but I love my tricksy thinking.
The challenge is not in how it works. The challenge is in the rule and how it's described. But basically what you need to do is draw a train. So this good does not need to have a donkey or a worker in it to get one tile. But after it's gone one tile, it needs a train of donkeys until it gets to a worker. And the worker can be in a different tile, that's fine. But the donkey must be in an adjacent tile connected by a path. And it sounds really simple, but in reality, explaining that rule the first time you're trying to play the game is a pain in the backside. The other one that is fiddly is the earthquakes that sometimes happen when you drop tiles on the board, because we want to finish this game off. That donkey was there. So what we end up with is, on these tiles there are segments. And this tile has 2 segments and a third area here with a road coming out of it. And a segment is defined as an area where you've got either forest or stone. And when you're laying a tile, it must have a complete segment touching another complete segment. So that is legitimate. And that segment is separated by clearings, and these little pale green dots here are clearings. And unfortunately, the graphic design, to make these tiles look beautiful, the graphic design makes following that rule a little bit awkward at times.
For example, if I can just stack these up a minute, the book advises that you put these tiles at the top of the market.
When they're not being used, so they'll be flipped that way up.
However, that then covers a path. And yesterday we played and we suddenly got to the end of that and suddenly realised that we'd actually placed a tile incorrectly because we couldn't see that there was a path there. But we know now for next time. Yeah. It's just tiny. I'll put these out. Sorry, tiny little things. But on the plus side, the component quality of this game is just fantastic. Yeah, it's lovely. The coins, the 5 coins. I'm amazed we didn't go over our weight limit just with the coins.
They're heavy. They're really
like for flying back. The design of the coins is stunning. The components, the tiny, tiny pieces. I mean, I get that they need to be small to fit on the board, but they're tiny, tiny.
Yeah,
that's why it's 14 plus game, because of the size of the parts. But the attention to detail, the little flags in each colour, the artwork, every single meeple is unique. The screen printed.
Yeah, they're all screen printed.
And it's not like, we've got the same design. Everyone is unique. And
each player has the 4 same designs, to be fair.
They don't.
They're not?
Nope. Each one is different.
Oh, okay.
And I think that level of attention to detail is fantastic. And whether that was something that happened through Kickstarter as stretch goals or something that was always planned, but hats off Mighty Boards. It's fantastic production quality.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
I don't know.
And
it's a beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game. It's some really nice ideas. It's just, I think it's poorly point balanced, and that leaves me personally with a poor game experience. And I would rather play a game like Cascadia than Hamlet.
So one thing I would like to say, which I think is a fantastic idea, and sometime I wish other games would do it. Now, whether it was a stretch goal or not, I don't know. And it's the fact that you can put the chits in the bag instead of putting the large tiles. It extends the life of the tiles, and all these chits are the same shape. So you can't do it by feel and go, I'm going to pull out, I know I need a diamond. I'm going to pull out a diamond shape. You can't help but feel the shape. And that is a fantastic way of preserving the tiles for the game.
Like I say, there's a lot to like about the game.
There aren't little things like that. I think they've done really well. One thing I didn't like, and I'm going to put it out here, there's no 0 on the scoreboard. And I know that graphically, that's worked, but you've got to leave your counters off the scoreboard to start off with.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's just me, it just feels a bit wrong.
So overall, from me, I can't recommend Hamlet. I don't think it's a game that, until it's been fixed on some of the elements, whether that's an expansion or just a reprint on some of the rules, I wouldn't necessarily recommend, unless you love the game Settlers as a kid on the PC, this is a nice little clone of. I can't recommend Hamlet. I think for £50-60 there are games that you'll enjoy more out there.
Okay, so I enjoy this game. I think it's beautiful on the table. I think it just needs a few more tweaks before I could give it a full thumbs up.
Okay. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to the channel.
Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Let us know in the comments below. We'd really, really appreciate your feedback and your experiences with this game. We're also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Just search Fluidas Vulpes.
Thank you for your time today.
Thanks for your time, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.